It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. As always, presented to you by CoolBet. When you sign up for an account at CoolBet, use the code 2GUYS, the number 2, and the word guys. So when you sign up at CoolBet.com, use the code 2GUYS. It is episode 222. It is a game day for the Edmonton Oilers as they take on the Nashville Predators. I don't even know if Cass is going to watch the game tonight because he's diving into season 2 of Drive to Survive. You should have seen before we went on live here, Gage and I were sitting here. Cass is talking about F1. I'm almost like, shut up about this F1 stuff, Cass. You're a real weirdo. You're almost all in here, buddy. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if all in is the right word, but yeah, I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. I'm starting to learn more about the teams and the different personalities, and I do love the presentation, at least of the TV show, and from everything you guys talk about, like race day presentation is pretty fun too, like the interviews and that sort of thing. I love the conflict between the teams and the drivers. That's pretty fun. But on the fantasy side, and this is why I've never this is in actuality, like I've done some hockey pools that were very hands off, like where you couldn't dig
draft
into
and
much.
leave it.
Yeah, with people. But I know I haven't ever done fantasy football or any other sports because I know that I will get so absorbed into it that it's like I have to figure out how to beat everybody. I go back actually to this. It was in school when I was doing, it was like a business course, and they had like a business simulation program. Whereas like you have your team of classmates and you're running a business and you have to compete against other classmates in that business. I spent more time on that than I think I ever spent studying anything in my entire history of school, because I'm like, this is a game, this is a system. If I can figure out how to use this system better than everyone else uses this system, I can beat everybody. And I did. And that's what I'm starting to try, like with the F1 fantasy. I'm like, I already feel myself kind of getting sucked into that wormhole of like, okay, how can I not manipulate the rules, but how can I best use the rules to my advantage to try to screw everybody else and win this thing? So yeah, I just got to really focus on not getting sucked down that black hole, because it can turn into not a dark place, but an all encompassing, all absorbing, where it's the only thing I'm ever thinking about type of place.
Cass, F1's the Borg. Resistance is futile, buddy. just assimilate and be one of us.
Well, you know what, Gager? I even had the thought. And when my wife asked, like, because they had on the one episode, I can't remember who it was, but he was like, it may have been Leclerc, I can't remember, but he didn't know the course, the Singapore course. And so he pulls it up on the PlayStation. He's got his setup and he's like going through it, like to memorize the track, like into practice during race week. And part of me was like, like, I've never really been into racing games ever. I'm like, would that be fun? I'm like, what would it be like? Like, I mean, I couldn't do it with just the controller because I'm not very good at
No, you got to get the wheel
controller in games. Yeah, but I'm just like, I wonder what that would look like. Maybe I should ask for something like that for Father's Day to see if I'd like it. But yeah, I'm not there yet. But I had the thought. It popped into my mind.
See, I'm there, Cass, but I know that's the last straw. That's the last brick to fall if I ever submit to the video game side of things. I've done everything else except I don't know if you ever seen that old movie Lawnmower Man, but that's what would be. This would just be a little shell of me, and I'd be absorbed into the console, and I'd be in there for the rest of my life, I think.
I have it all, and it's amazing. I fully endorse getting the wheels, the pedals, the chair. It's the best video game experience I've ever had in my life. I'm not a big shoot 'em up game. I'm a sport game, but it's the best sports game I've had in my entire life, man. It's amazing. I love it. Anyway, all right, let's dive into it. We've got Chris Abbott's going to pop by a little bit later on. We got another installment of the Two Guys Showdown, in which Cass right now is 4-1 so far. So Gage, you're trying to make up some ground on that front. Oilers and Preds tonight. Few things to get to. Let's just dive right into it. We got to talk about it because we can kind of tie the overall game into that. So Gage, let's start with you, buddy. What do we got to talk about?
Well, just the playoff test of just going through these last few games of the Oilers. And after last game against the Wild, you really saw, I think, a preview of what the playoffs are going to look like. And I mean, it's not that the Wild were overly physical or ran them out of the rink, but they were just so efficient on their forecheck, causing Oilers to make bad plays, bad decisions with the puck, and capitalizing on those plays, right? By all accounts, you're going to see basically a lot of the same type of play from the Predators, I think, tonight. It's going to be a very hard test for the Oilers again, I think, with this. But I'm not too worried about it. I think it's kind of a little bit of a blip on the radar, but the realization is like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to pull up the bootstraps on this and become a little bit more clean, a little bit more urgency in the defensive zone, a little bit more communication, making quick plays, easier plays possibly. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see the adjustments that the Oilers make, because really, if they don't, it's going to be another one of the games just like against the Wild.
Cass, they played Colorado pretty well a couple of times now. But Minnesota, they just haven't been able to figure out. I thought Gager mentioned one word in there that kind of sort of describes maybe one went wrong against Minnesota, and maybe what every team needs to have in the playoffs, and that was the urgency when they had the puck. Maybe what did you see the Oilers not be able to do against Minnesota that they're going to have to do maybe tonight against Nashville, but certainly when they get to the playoffs?
I don't know. Was it urgency or lack of urgency, or was it too much urgency? Because they were just throwing the puck away. Like they in that game against Minnesota, they could not deal with the aggressiveness, like that pressure. And I talked about it in the pregame show. Minnesota plays super, super aggressive. Like they're a full pinch. They're going to pinch pretty much every single time. Really aggressive in the forecheck. Their forwards apply a ton of pressure. They're all over you and all over the defensemen. And Edmonton just couldn't deal with it. There was a lot of throwing the puck away, a lot of hope plays. Duncan Keith's little backhand attempt at a Chelios play to the middle of the ice that just was horrible. And that stuff just happened over and over and over again. So was it? I don't know if it was like they weren't holding on to the puck too long, and that was causing the problems. It was almost like, oh crap, I got nothing to do with it, and then just throwing it away. So it wasn't. I don't know if it was a lack of urgency or just an inability to deal with the type of pressure that they saw from Minnesota. And that's the same type of pressure you're going to see from Nashville. Like Nashville and Minnesota play a very similar game in that they play really up-tempo, really aggressive, heavy on the pinch style of forecheck and of game. Now, the difference being, I think, Nashville generates their offense from their back end, where Minnesota generates their offense from their forwards. So that a little bit different when they have the puck, I think, when Nashville has a puck than versus Minnesota. But in terms of when they don't have the puck, you're going to say that same level of aggression. So Edmonton's D in particular, and the wingers, I'll blame the wingers at times too, didn't do a very good job against Minnie of actually making something happen, knowing that you're going to have all kinds of pressure on you. Yeah.
Gager, is it a different animal with this pressure of Mike Smith's in net? I'm just curious with the way that I know he can mess up sometimes with the puck, but does that change things at all when a team like Minnesota pushes as much as they did, or Nashville possibly tonight does the same?
Well, I'm sure before the game, the coaching staff looks at and sees who's playing in net, and if it is Mike Smith, you're going to hear, if you're in that dressing room, keep the puck away from Mike Smith, like soft dumps in the corners, hard rims. And if I was coaching against Mike Smith, I would tell a guy to go right at him all the time, just because he's going to grab the puck and move it at some point. It does give you a little bit of another element as a coach, and I think we've seen that in the past where a lot of the Oilers coaches have gone to Mike Smith with more aggressive forward-checking style teams, because he does alleviate that pressure a lot of the time. It's a curious advanced stat I would like to see. It would be hard to do. Maybe, Cass, you can get your analytics department on this. But when a goalie actually makes the play with the puck, how many times does it get out of the zone, right? Because Mike Smith, like I was trying to count, I remember a few times this year where, okay, he's touched the puck, he's made a pass, and the Oilers have exited the zone. And then there was a couple times where the puck didn't exit the zone, right? So I wondered what that correlation or that number would be compared to a guy that maybe doesn't move the puck that much and gets the puck out of harm's way. But I would definitely see Mike Smith will be playing the puck a lot, I think, tonight for sure. He's playing tonight. So it's you'll see the Predators a lot of soft dumps into the corners, I think, trying to keep the puck away from them so they can establish that forecheck.
Want to just talk a little bit about Roman Yossi here, who has 87 points coming into the game tonight. I mean, odds are the rate that he's producing at right now, 87 and 71, is actually 100 points on the nose for an 82 game season. And I'm just like, I still don't think anybody's talking about this enough. Like, if you look, let's say Roman Yossi finishes conservatively with like 93 to 95 points. You have to go back 30 years to find defensemen putting up the numbers that Roman Yossi is putting up this year. Like in that 93 to 95-ish range, you've got Coffey in 91, Bork in 91, Potvin in 78, Ray Bork in 87. And then above that, it's a bunch of Paul Coffey's, Bobby Orr's, Brian Leach's, the odd Phil Housley mixed in there as well. Like, this is, like, considering the way offense is, and I know offense has been a little bit different this year, but considering the way that, you have watched defensemen be limited in production. Cass, your thoughts on what Yossi's doing this year that hasn't been done in 30 years? And also, I'm actually like very intrigued as a team. How do you play a defenseman like that who does generate so much offense? I mean, he's got 68 assists right now. So much offense comes from them. So do you approach that differently?
Well, I'll start with that. I think that you do approach it differently. You're looking to finish your hits when you can, but you have to be careful not to just try to run guys over, because one of the things that really good defensemen will do is they'll let you finish a check, but they'll do it in a way where they know that they're going to be able to beat you by a step, and they're going to beat you up ice by a step, and that's where they generate that offense from. You eliminate that by having a smart forecheck where your F2 typically is able to at least remain above them. And what I mean by that, your F2 is you have your first forechecker that's in, that's F1. F2 is the second guy in. So depending on what style you're playing, the Oilers, typically it's a 1-2-2 style forecheck. That would be the guy on the weak side that's a little bit lower than your, where your centerman would be or your high forward would be, ready to jump on an across or ready to jump to the wall. But that player who's typically, the fourth guy back into the zone in a rush against, he has to stay above that D-man, and he has to be aware of where they are on the ice. And you got to find a way to basically to impede them legally and slow them down coming up the ice. That's how you play them. Now, as to what you talked about with, the unbelievable nature of what we're seeing from Roman Yossi, I just can't believe you made it through that whole monologue without mentioning Austin Matthews, because I don't think, if we look at what Austin Matthews is doing compared to Roman Yossi, I mean, it doesn't matter that no one's done what Roman Yossi has done in almost 30 years. It doesn't matter that this is something that we almost never see. I mean, it's like a perfect game. You almost never see this anymore. But just like, you want to pull pitchers from games that could have a perfect game for arm management and dumb reasons, you can not talk about Roman Yossi and the unbelievable nature of a season and gloss over it and just look at Austin Matthews. But in my opinion, right now, if I was voting for the heart, I would vote for Roman Yossi. He for the success of the team, he is the most important player. He is more important than Austin Matthews. He's more important than McDavid. He's more important than Draisaitl. Not saying he's a better player than them, but he is a more important player to his team. He's the most valuable player to his team this season. By far and away, all their offense runs through Yossi, and it's unbelievable what he's doing. It's crazy to see. He's doing a fantastic job of it, and I wish more people would notice.
You have to go back to Phil Housley in 93. Last time somebody got 90 points on the blue line. Like, come on.
He could get 100. He could get 100.
He could. I mean, if he heats up a little bit, he could get 100. You're right. And if you want to get to 100, let me just you got to go back to 91 for Al McInnes. And the only other guys who've had 100 are Bobby Orr, Brian Leach, Paul Coffey, and Dennis Potvin did it once. Like, and that's in the 80s, you guys. Like, this is 2022, and he's taking a run at it.
Guys in the Hall of Fame guys, I think every single one of those guys.
Oh yeah, those guys walk in. Yeah. It's crazy.
What's more impressive, 60 goals or 100 points by a defenseman?
I think 100 points by a defenseman.
I hate to do it, but I have to agree with you, Cass. I think that's a phenomenal feat. Like, and not like if we're gonna get into this Hart Trophy candidate crap, like if you look back to when Taylor Hall won it, right? He essentially pulled his whole team into the playoffs. And I know that there's been some, I mean, Duchesne's having a fantastic year in Nashville too, and things like that. But Yossi is all right, guys, let's go. We're going to the playoffs now. He's got every one of those guys on his back and doing it far and away. He, like you said, Cass, he means the most. He is the most valuable player in the NHL this year because of what he's done.
I would have, it's funny you bring that up. Like, what's more likely? I mean, you would think somebody's going to score 60. If Matthew's going to get it this year, other guys will get it. I would have said at the beginning of the year, I don't think a defenseman ever scores 100 points in the National Hockey League ever again. And here's Roman Yossi taking a run at it this year. So certainly something to discuss. We'll get maybe a bet or two on the National Hockey League tonight with Chris Abbott, who for some reason is at his own house, which is really strange to see. But he pops in today. Chris Abbott, how are you, buddy? What are you eating over there, buddy? What are you snacking on?
Hey!
I had mini eggs today too, man. With that being said, I have mini eggs most days, so it's not really a surprise, but nice find. It's Easter weekend. You got to have some mini eggs.
Exactly. Yeah, I was at Shoppers earlier, and they were right there next to, well, not next to anything I was buying at all. Let's be honest. I just grabbed them up. I went to the mini egg aisle. So yeah, no, it was all good. Yeah, how are you guys doing? And we're
doing pretty good.
I am home. It's wonderful here. Yeah.
How is it being back in the T dot?
Well, I hate it so much. I'm going to Jacksonville in 10 days. Well,
that'll be okay, though. That'll be a good
the
trip.
Toronto of the South. Nice.
Yeah, yes, it'll be my first time. It's a little weird being back in Toronto, to be honest with you, but it was great. I got to go to the Jays game on Sunday.
Nice.
Going again tomorrow night. Big weekend here, actually. We've got the Toronto Arrows game Saturday afternoon, Toronto Rock game Saturday night, Leafs games Sunday. Jays are playing all weekend. Yeah, it's busy time, man.
Chris, I'm seeing this cool bet everywhere these days.
Good.
It's amazing. I even had I was wearing the garb into the grocery store, and this guy was looking at me. And he didn't know me, obviously, but he was and then he actually said, he goes, "Hey, where did you get that? Where do you order that stuff?" And I go, "Well, you got to work for the company, but it's just the way things are." But
I mean, that's great. You're OG cool bet, Gager. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. So thanks, man. I'm always up for. I need a little bit bigger golf shirt though. I've been wailing on the pecs a little bit too much, and I don't want to embarrass people out on the golf course too much. I might need a little bit extra room in that thing because I don't know what size that is. What is it? Painted? Is that the size on that?
I tell you, they're a little bit small. I don't know if I was telling you guys about this. I think I might have been, Dusty. It could have been on the show, could have been on the Lock Shop, but our friends at the Toronto Arrows gave me a couple of rugby shirts. And, you know, those guys are big. So they're like, "What size do you need?" I'm like, "I don't know, whatever size the guys wear, like 2X, 3X, whatever." And they sent me the 2X. And I could barely get it over my shoulders. And I wrote back, I was like, based on the sizing, I'm going to need a 6 to 7X here. Jesus.
Well, the odd time here,
grab you.
Yeah, the odd time here, I'll go shop in the big and tall store. And I'm kind of big, but I'm really tall. So I go in there and I get the smallest size, and it makes me feel fucking great, boys. I'm not going to lie. I'm in there. I'm like, here for the double XLs. They're like, "Well, we've got 8XL. I'm like, "No, I only need the double XL. I just need something that's a little bit longer for my legs." And I walk out of there just being like, I don't need to go to the gym. I don't need to stop eating mini eggs on the regular. Like, I go into the big and tall store and get the smallest size. So it's my favorite time to go shopping. I'm not going to lie.
You look better when your clothes fit. That's for sure. Like, I have to go there for my shirts. Like, I'm not tall. I'm like 5'8", but I've got a neck like a cement mixer. So I can't find a shirt in a regular store that like to wear a suit and tie, right? I have to go get like whatever it is, 18 and a half, 19. Like, it's just, it's just it. Like, we're not all shaped the same, you know?
F1 neck. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's it. Danny Ricciardo, huge neck. That's right. Same sort of thing. Chris, Oilers get the Preds tonight. we're just talking about Roman Yossi.
Yeah.
And this is a insane season that he is having. I thought, Adam Fox has had a really good offensive season lately. Cale McCarr could always take a run at 80, and he's already passed that this year. But to be sitting here today going like, hey, if Roman Yossi gets a little hot, he could maybe hit 100 points on the season. Is that more of a Roman Yossi thing, or the state of the game today, or what? Where did this come from, I guess, is what I'm wondering.
Well, I was reading something the other day that the scoring is way up this season in the NHL, and obviously it's great to see guys with more point totals. It's a little surprising to me that it's not like there was any major rule changes over the last couple of years, but that's reflected in totals most nights in the betting market. Like you would always see at least 1.5 or 5.5 during the regular season per night, and you just don't see them right now unless it's like the Islanders playing, I don't know, another defensive type team. Yeah. You just don't see the 5s on the board, and it's 6, 6.5. We're seeing a lot more 7s. So whatever's going on, and I'd be curious to compare this season standalone to some of the others on the front end and the back end as we go. And I wonder how much the kind of condensed schedule played, especially after the games that were all postponed during Christmas. I wonder if there's just a little less attention to detail. Goalies are a little more tired, that kind of thing. But
less time for practice. Maybe
less time for practice for sure. More injuries probably. I mean, I don't know. I'm spitballing here, but I think more goals is good, man. It's got to be a good thing.
I'm not complaining about it. Yeah. It's nice.
But yeah, back to your question, Roman Yossi, it's outstanding, and I think we had this conversation maybe on Twitter. The last 2 Hart Trophy winners from the blue line were Chris Pronger and Bobby Orr. So whether he's deserving or not, and Cash, you're right, like, is he more valuable to his team than the other guys? I think the arguments can be made there, because I don't know if I can tell you 3 more guys who play for the Nashville Predators. It very rarely goes to somebody in a small market.
And he plays.
You're going to say something, Cass. What were you going to say?
Yeah, it looked like you were going to say, Cass. You looked like you're kind of hesitating. I think Gage and I were both waiting.
No.
We're like,
no, I'm okay. I don't know. I value what Roman Yossi is doing, and I think when you're a guy on a team where you have a defenseman like that, because I played on a team like that where our best offensive player was Erik Karlsson. Like the importance of that player to you on the team cannot be understated. And if we just switched Toronto and Nashville, like we just switched, the entire teams, the entire talk, all we'd be hearing about is what an incredible season Roman Yossi is having. And I get disappointed.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Fans.
Toronto's a market, Nashville's a market. Yeah.
I just get disappointed sometimes that he's mentioned a little bit less than that. And I don't know. I didn't have anything groundbreaking to say. I just Chris
that's okay though.
Chris, you were pretty good
I think that's totally fair though, because when Morgan Riley has an average season here, they're giving him the Norris Trophy.
That's
right?
true.
And he's a good hockey player and stuff, but if Morgan Riley ever put up 100 points, like, they'd be changing street names. So it's absolutely true. And I mean, the city of Nashville and Tennessee love their Predators, but it hasn't translated yet. And then, of course, the Toronto's on a whole other level where, the amount of coverage and things that get said about the team are, as we all know, it's ridiculous, and it's the center of the media for the country. And but I do think that what Austin Matthews is doing is quite impressive. Right, like, we like to rag on it a bit. And
he's ran away with the Rocket now. I mean, he's been on fire lately, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
It's been very impressive. Chris, before I let you go, I mean, two things. First of all, have you taken a look at the NHL slate tonight? Are you leaning anywhere on the NHL games tonight? Do you have anything on the card this evening?
Well, I mean, I will say, you're talking about the Oilers and the Predators. The Oilers are a slight underdog, just about even money. They've been pretty good lately, haven't they? I mean, I thought they've been doing pretty well.
They got the loss to Minnesota, which wasn't great, but before that, they put 50 shots up on Colorado and lost in a shootout. That was a shootout one, right, boys? Yeah. So,
yeah. I mean, and I think the Leafs coming off that loss to Buffalo, I don't know. Normally, I'd say they're a decent spot maybe for a regulation win, but they have trouble with Washington every time they play them. So, you're getting the Caps at plus 150 on the road. Certainly something to take a look at. And are my guys playing tonight? Are my Sabres playing? They are, and they're underdogs again. I got to go make that bet. I'm not lying to you. Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner paid my rent last month just by getting a point.
You must live in a shithole.
No, they are so undervalued in the prop market that I bet on them $100 every night to get a point. Go back and look at how many times they've gotten a single point over the last.
So you're on it again.
Yeah.
You're on it again.
Absolutely. I haven't even looked at the price yet, but I'll be on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't mind Washington either. There, they've been on fire. They'd won 3 in a row against really good teams, and then put up a 9 spot on Philly. So that's a decent look too. Before we go, I'm wearing the hat. Vladdy and being in Toronto, I would almost move to Toronto just for baseball season, just to go and be able to be there to watch this team play. What's the buzz like for Vladdy and the Jays right now?
I've barely watched the NHL in the last 5 or 6 nights, since the season started. It's pretty good. Obviously, every baseball team, how healthy can you stay? Danny Jansen out for a month, they're saying, is not good. Teoscar Hernandez pulls what looked like his oblique last night. They're not really deep, but my God, the way Vladdy's hitting those baseballs. I was there Sunday when he got his first of the year. A laser beam into the flight deck where the guy was like, normally if a ball hits the flight deck, it's like way up and over. They're getting out of there in an absolute hurry. And he makes a sick play to end the game on defense last night after getting stepped on with a cleat. It's hard not to love this guy. Hard not to love him. Hopefully,
he's pretty awesome, isn't he?
Yeah.
It was just like you're just holding your breath. I wonder what type of action you guys even had on Vladdy hitting his first home run, because it seemed like it took so long to get there, and then all of a sudden it's like pop, pop, pop.
It was great. I think he went from being a decently far second on the MVP race behind Ohtani, and now they're even. And
we're a week in. Here we go.
I would say most nights baseball players are at least plus 250, plus 300 or more to hit a home run. Like tonight, Lourdes Gurriel plus 525, Bichette plus 600, Giancarlo Stanton plus 330. Vladdy is plus 230 to hit a home run. He gets 4 at bats, and they're saying, he's probably. It's wild. But it's fun, boys. And if you're ever in Toronto, I've got tickets, so let me know.
He's going to pay your rent this month. Vladdy's going to get that taken care of. All right, Chris. We'll catch up again. I'll talk to you tomorrow in the lock shop, man.
All right, guys. Take care.
There you go. That is Chris Abbott from CoolBet Canada. Sign up at coolbet.com and use the code 2GUYS when you sign up so they know that we sent you. Couple of things still to get to, guys. Let's actually, I just tweeted out that we were going to dive into this. So Jay Woodcroft, I was talking about it a little bit this morning, and I don't even see it being a storyline, because I just kind of assume that this guy's the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers moving forward. I mean, are you guys on the same wavelength to me, or does he still have to prove something in the playoffs before he gets that contract from Ken Holland and the Oilers moving forward? What do you guys think?
I think the deal's already done. It just hasn't been announced yet, Dusty. It's just he's done too good a job of things. And not only has he done a good job, he's done things that, to me, the way I see it, completely different from a lot of coaches that have been here with thousands of games of NHL experience. And you hear him in interviews and how he talks about players and how calculated he is with all his words. He does a masterful job at that. You can see the communication on the bench. What I really like a lot about him too is when he was asked about when he left the Oilers and basically went to Bakersfield to coach, he said he was upset about that. He felt that he was ready to coach in the NHL, and by going down to Bakersfield for the last few years, he realized that there was a lot more that he needed to learn to be successful at this level. And I think that was a key. It's a key part in anyone's growth, and he comes back and he's ready. And not only has he had experience with some of these players, but he knows the organization. It's just a perfect, to me, it's a perfect fit. And let's face it, the Oilers have had too many coaches come, the carousel of different things to actually go into, I'm looking ahead to next year, but you're looking at a pretty solid core group of guys with the same type of systems that they've been able to implement and do well as. I just think that Ken Holland, you know what, this is done. We'll worry about that in the summertime, maybe verbal hand, because you don't want this guy, any other teams coming around, sniffing around him, because he'll be gone in a heartbeat.
Cass, what do you think?
Phase number 1 of the season was they were lucky. Phase number 2 of the season was they sucked. Phase number 3 of the season was they got a new coach and they were playing well. So, I mean, you're not bringing anyone else in. Not a chance. Deal, maybe not ink signed, done, but they will get something done. It's going to be a 2-year or a 3-year deal at the least. And you want to have Woodcroft around. But we knew, I think everybody knew at some point Woodcroft was going to get an NHL chance. Ken Holland knew that at some point Woodcroft was going to get an NHL chance. That's why they kept him around. That's why they wanted him in the organization. Now you're seeing why. So he deserves it based on the play thus far. He's going to get it based on the play thus far. And I expect shortly after the season that we'll get an announcement regarding that.
Yeah, the common theme was, if the Oilers don't bring him up and give him that shot post-Tippett, he was going to end up somewhere else if they didn't give him that look, which kind of makes sense. And he certainly made the most of it so far. And he's just a guy that you want to see have some success. And being here in Edmonton, you want it to happen for the Edmonton Oilers. So I think we'd all be pretty stunned if he's not the head coach of the Oilers next year. Cass, what do we got to talk about, buddy?
I want to talk about flipping the bird. Pretty funny moment with Ryan Hartman and Evander Kane the other day. If you didn't get a chance to see it, there was a little scuffle, and Mr. Hartman decided to express his feelings with a gesture. Now, me and my friends, we called this the forgive you finger, when you just put your pinky finger up. I'll try to get it in the camera there. I can't tell which direction. The finger. So that's the forgive you finger. When you forgive someone, you're like, yeah, I forgive you. That was not what Mr. Hartman showed to Evander Kane. So he gets the fine from the NHL. This is one of the things, and I love Minnesota hockey fans. And this is, I think, fantastic. I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm hoping you did. If not, you're going to get to hear about it right now. There's a pay app called like Venmo, and it's supposed to be for like if you go out for dinner and like one person picks up the tab, like to get everyone else to chip in for it, like that sort of thing. And some fans discovered that Ryan Hartman had Venmo from Minnesota. So I don't know where they dug or how they found this information, but they found this information. So they decided that they loved him doing that so much that they were going to pay off his fine for him. So you had the fan group all chipping in because they all can't stand Evander Kane so much that they're chipping in money to get it paid off. And on top of this, Evander Kane's estranged, like his ex-wife, she posted that she had donated to this as well to pay off the fine for Ryan Hartman flipping off Evander Kane. And like a true, a player should in that situation, obviously Hartman's really encouraged with his support. But he's taking and he's saying, you know what, I'm going to pay my own fine. Any money that this thing gives to me, I'm going to pass on to the Minnesota Children's Foundation, which is fantastic. So he's just going to use that money to go to charity, which is great. But I just thought it was hilarious. I'm like, how fantastic is that you have a fan base that hates a guy so much that you have a player that flips him the bird. Gets a penalty, gets fined, and then you have the fan base like chipping in to pay off his fine because they all think that it was worth it just for that moment. And the thing is it's not like that even really would have hurt Evander Kane's feelings. Like it's not going to hurt his feelings. Like, oh yeah, you gave him the finger. Like, oh, his feelings are really going to be hurt. Like, no, he's not going to care about that. But fans care about it. Thought it was funny. I just love it. Thank you, Minnesota fans, for making me laugh. Thank you, Ryan Hartman, for giving us a situation to make me laugh in a game where the Oilers were getting pulverized. That wasn't very fun to watch. I don't know. It was just a great story to me.
Evander Kane's ex donated $200. I just looked it up. Jeez, my goodness, man.
That's awesome.
Oh,
that's so awesome.
Jeez, I don't even know what to say about that.
It's funny, it's great.
Yeah, that's wild. No pun intended. That was not meant. Yeah, that was. You know what? I just thought that whole thing, like the scrum, the comments after, boys. I just thought it felt like game one of a playoff series. Like there's not what you're like. Okay, the tone has been set for game two. I was very excited from that aspect of it. I can't wait for the playoffs, man. The Oilers better not blow this thing. Like they got to be in it.
It was reminiscent of the fat bug-eyed walrus comments that were made by Colby Armstrong about Paul McLean back in
Jeez,
our
that's a
playoff
while
series
ago. You're right. Yeah.
Montreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are, I mean, that was
Buckeye.
yeah. Actually,
That was that in the
after
series when Eller got taken out? Cass, was that series?
Yeah, that was that series. So Greiba, my roomie at the time, the ex-Edmonton Oiler Eric Greiba hit Lars Eller open ice. It was Eller's visor, so his helmet popped off. It wasn't the hit that cut him. His helmet popped off during the hit, and his visor flipped down and sliced him across the forehead. And if you've ever seen like wrestlers, like when they have the razor blade in their hand and then they nick themselves, like it's because you can have a very small cut in your forehead and bleed like crazy. So there was just a ton of blood. That's when they came down. The police came to our dressing room after that game and told us we couldn't walk back to the hotel because we would get stabbed or murdered on the way back to the hotel with how like insane the crowd was that night. And then I started getting put into the lineup, but they made the bug-eyed walrus comment, and Paul McLean pulled me into his office and. He's like, Cass, you seen the comments? And I was like, yeah, of course I seen the comments. Those are bulletin board comments. Everybody's seen the comments. And he just kind of looks at me with those kind of bug eyes over top of his glasses. And he's just like, Armstrong, if you get the chance. Or I think he actually said he just like Armstrong or Prest if you get the chance. And he just didn't finish it. He was just kind of nodding, like letting this sentence finish. And I was like, all right, guess I'm in the lineup. So good thing.
I'm in. That's perfect. Oh, that's too good. All right, let's get to the two guys showdown to wrap it up. Family Feud style affair that has been dominated by Cass so far. I've got one category with 4 players on the board. I've got another category with 6 players on the board. Remember, if you get it first, you're number 1. You can decide if you want to play or pass. We're going to start right here, guys. Toronto Maple Leafs players who have scored 50. Top 4 names on the board. Who do you got? Gager.
Matthews.
That's the number 1 answer. You can play or pass.
I will play.
Okay, you have to give me
I was gonna
the second,
pass.
third, and fourth. Good luck.
So Dave Anderchuk,
Correct. That's number 3 on the board.
Rick Vive,
Number 2 on the board. Now you've got 3 chances here to get this last guy.
Gary Lehman.
It's going to be tough. Oh, Gager walks clean board. Nice work, buddy.
Wow.
I did not expect the Gary Lehman coming from you without at least 1 strike, dude.
Wow. I'm a closeted Leafs fan, boys. Sorry to say.
Huge Maple Leafs fan.
Clearly. All right. All-time records now 4-2. All right. Final category for the two guys showdown. Top 6 answers are on the board. These are the only 6 guys who have done this. Okay. Give me the players who have scored at least 76 goals in a season. Cass.
I think I'm delayed here.
Yeah, it's me. I think I'm delayed, but here's you.
The top ones, 76 goals in a season. I am going to say Mike Bossy.
Cass, he never scored 76. You have to give us guys who scored 76. Gager, give me 1.
Wayne Gretzky.
Okay, that's number 1 on the list. There are 5 more. Gager, do you want to play or pass?
You know what? Let's do this thing, Dusty. Let's do this.
Okay. All right, give me the next 5, buddy.
Phil Esposito.
Correct.
Timo Solani.
Correct. That's number 4 and number 6 on the list.
Brett Hull.
Number 2, correct.
I need 2 more.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Oh, you should get this now. I wasn't sure you'd get it, but I think you should get it now.
Curry.
That's strike 1.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Ovechkin.
Strike 2. He topped out at 65. I can't believe. Come on, Gager. You were rolling. Oh my God. Cass, be ready to steal.
I got my answer.
Yeah, of course you do.
Oh, I'm drawing a blank, boys.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cass for the steal.
Mario.
Of course, Mario. Gager, how could you not get Mario Lemieux?
How could I not get Mario?
Oh,
How many did Bossy have? I wanted to go see. I didn't think I was going to get everybody, so I wanted to get like a middle of the pack one and then hand it over to Gager. That was I thought Bossy had.
had like a steady dial of 60s, I think. A steady dial of 60s, I should say. But I don't think he ever got. Well, I know he didn't get up to 76. The one that you guys missed was the same year as Solani, and that was Alexander Mogilny.
McGillney, that's who.
Which I thought you
of.
guys were going to get. When you got Esposito, I was like, oh, he's going to knock this off because Solani and McGillney did it in the same year, and the other one was Mario Lemieux.
I was thinking Bure, but then I go no, but there was someone with the Canucks that did it, and I was, God, yeah, whatever.
It was. I think he did it with Buffalo. Actually, I think it was in Buffalo when he got the 76. Yeah. All right, so there you go. Cass is now 5-2. On the Two Guys Showdown. That'll bring us to the end of the episode, boys. Nice long weekend coming up. I have Friday off for sure, so that's cool. If you guys want to do a podcast on Monday, if you're not busy, we can do one then, recap the weekend. But do you guys have do you do up Easter pretty big, guys, or what's the big plan this weekend?
I've got dance competition this weekend, Dusty, so I'm Twinkle Toes this weekend. Little bit upset there's no race, but we got some good Oilers games afternoon Saturday. That's gonna be good. I'm actually gonna go to that game and watch that in the afternoon. Good excuse to have a few beverages in the early part of the day. And I don't know. My kids are. I don't know if the Easter Bunny still comes after a certain age. I gotta look into this because
check into the Easter Bunny and see what's up. Yeah,
there's usually a trail of chocolates everywhere. So we'll see what happens.
Cass, what have you, bud?
We got an Easter egg hunt on Saturday morning.
Okay,
so that'll actually be at the Broadmoor Lake Park in Sherwood Park. It's going to be a big one. They got 50,000 Easter eggs all over for the kiddos. Yeah, 50,000 Easter eggs. So it'll be pretty cool. That'll be fun. So we'll be running around there probably a little bit, and then the hockey game in the afternoon. And I think on Sunday we're going to do a big family dinner. That's
perfect.
That'll
be really nice.
Cass, are you smoking anything?
I'm assuming because I think we'll probably do it over my parents' place, and I'm assuming there will be something on the smoker, although it won't be me doing it. So. Yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping for some pork belly or something like that I could use. He'll probably do something. I don't think he'll do because my mom will probably want to make a turkey or like a roast or something. So we'll see. We'll see if there's something on the smoker. He'll do something on there. He'll do something.
Sweet.
I just can't figure out how the Easter Bunny hides 55,000 eggs. Is that dropped from like a chopper or something? Like that's ridiculous. That's going to be a hell of an Easter egg hunt. That's going to be amazing.
It'll be amazing. I think it's the church is doing it, so they got a lot of volunteers to help.
A lot of Easter bunnies. That'll be great. Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
I'll tell you what else I'm doing.
What's that?
I was just gonna say I gotta tell you what else I'm doing on the weekend. Is I have to finalize the soundtrack for Gager's roast.
Oh.
So you need to text me if there's any of your top 90s songs because I'm going heavy on the 90s music here for you. And like the straight up jock rock, like the No Limits.
I was gonna say
song,
Jock
that's
Jams.
One of the songs. Yeah, like No Limits, like that one's on there. The Woohoo song by that one British band that I can never remember the name of. That one's on there.
I should go with my wedding song. What is love? Baby, don't hurt
me. Oh no, that's on
don't
there.
Hurt me. No
Perfect. More. Yeah, but I got to finalize that. So that's on my to-do list too. So if you haven't got tickets yet, I think there's still some available. Come on out for that, and you'll get a sweet taste of some 90s jams.
Yeah, I got to go meet with Kent Tilley, and I met with him once. It's I'm a little bit scared to divulge too much information, but he's sucking some stuff out of me, and I know it's not good. So he's if anyone has seen what he did to Struds, he's going to demolish me, I think. So it's gonna be fun. I have to go meet him again to try to get my rebuttals done.
Well, good luck with that, Gager. I can't wait for that night. That's gonna be a really fun night. I can't wait for that. Watch all of our Twitter accounts as we continue to tweet out all the social media that is needed for the roast of Joaquin Gage. It's gonna be a really fun time, and hopefully we can get a few of the two guys, listeners and viewers out there with us that night. Happy Easter, you guys. Have a great long weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. If you've been watching on the live stream, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. For Gager and Cass and our presenting sponsor, Coolbet, I am Nielsen saying happy Easter to all of you. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.